Hello guys, I'm Ricky from Market Analysis Department. Welcome to today's course on April hot market dynamics. Let's begin today with the new target of Europe Commission about its renewable share in 2030. So on March 30th, EU Council and Parliament just reached a temporary agreement about the increase in the target share of renewable in 2030 from 40% to 42.5%. With indicative supplement 2.5%, which means we might see a 45% of the total renewable share in the total Europe electricity system might be seen in 7 years later. After the Russia and Ukraine conflict, Europe has shown its sufficient ambition to construct its own electricity and energy system to get rid of the dependence from imported fossil fuels. And then next, we'll move on to some specific European markets like Spain and Germany. So for the Spain, the grid connection, according to the BNEF's latest insights for this market, the grid connection permission of Spain will be improved by two key policies passed by the local government, and sufficient projects reaching to ready-to-build stage in Spain. So from the graph on the left, as you can see, the current grid challenge for the Spain electricity market is still high for the developer and investor. So if the Spain wants to reach its target in 2030, about 93 gigawatts, including solar PV and offshore wind and onshore wind, it still needs about 36 gigawatts to reach this target, considering the current installed capacity is about 59 gigawatts. But actually, at the same time, we should notice that the interconnection grid size has been over 170 gigawatts, and most of them is from the solar PV projects. So governments have awarded environmental permits to about 27.9 of clean energy projects in January of this year. And these projects have already received the grid access between January 2018 to 2022. And only a few more steps they need to take their projects into the ready-to-build stage. And of course, another 30 gigawatts of estimated solar project, mainly smaller than 55 megawatts, will come to this process and to reach the environmental permits of regional level. So it's very pleasant for us to see the steady growth in the Spain market and the efforts that the government has made for this growing market. And the same pleasure we are offered as well when we see the monthly installation addition in the Germany market. So on April 21st, according to the official institution from Germany has already installed 944 megawatts solar PV in March, which leading the quarterly number to the 2.65 gigawatts in this year. That's a good start for this year, and with a year-on-year 29% increasing comparing that number in the 2022. And so from now on, we can increase our expectation for this market to maybe 10 gigawatts, the annual addition in 2023. That's another memorable number for this kind of market. And Bavaria and North Rhine and Baden are the top 3 states among all the federal states in Germany. So at the same time, we can see that when the solar PV have show a good performance in the Germany markets, and the wind of Germany didn't show a good beginning in this year. So in the first quarter, the wind installation addition just about 500 megawatts. So that's almost just 1/3 of the comparing with the solar PV market, solar PV installation. And so after the Europe market, let's move our eyes to the India. So for the next, let's see the booming local content construction in the India market. So in the last year, after the implement of BCD officially, the key factor of India market for their own solar PV industry has been how to construct its own supply chain and especially the module capacity to supply its abundant local renewable projects demands. So according to the reports released by the JMK Research, which is a local institution in India, by the end of the March, the nameplate module capacity in India has reached 38 gigawatts. In the last year, the number is just 18 gigawatts. So that's a huge increment since the last 12 months. And Huawei, being the largest module supplier with its 9 gigawatts module capacity. And of course, we can see that Adani, Reliance, and Vikram Solar also show their construction plan and expected to be commissioned in the next 1 or 2 years later. And so the biggest number that surprised all of us is that the JMK Research is estimated that the total module capacity will maybe reach 110 gigawatts by 2026. So over 20 companies have shown their construction plan to build gigawatt scale module capacity in the next few years, especially with the momentum brought by the production-linked incentive of Indian government. So if all this module capacity plan completed in the next foreseeable future, maybe the module capacity can really reach 100 gigawatts. So then at that time, India will be the second largest manufacturers over the world, following after China. So as for the specific module suppliers, the Reliance, Shirley, Renew, Tata, and Gree might be the 5 biggest module supplier by 2026. So for India market, I will stop right there and follow you guys to some other regional markets who have shown good performance in the last 2 months. So the first one is the Philippines. So according to the BNF's latest report, the Philippines might be a gigawatt market in 2024 thanks to its the second round of green energy auction just announced in the April, and about 11.6 gigawatts might be get gridded into the electricity system in the next few years. But of course, the BNF also stated that the grid access have also been the issue for the Philippine solar PV market, just like the same issue that happens to the Spanish market that we said before. But anyway, there are good project volume and there are good projects and local government support for the project development. So actually for the Southeast Asia's market generally, the Philippines market might be the next key market that drive the overall Southeast solar PV market into the next state. And another good news is from China, the largest solar PV market. Another good news is from China, the largest solar PV market. And so the National Energy Association just released the data about the installation addition in March, and the number is 30.3 gigawatts in the alternative current measurement. So that leads the Chinese the first quarter solar PV installation addition to over 33 gigawatts, which is an incredible number for no matter in which country. And so that's also an increment about 155% year on year. And it also well noted that after the March's addition has been calculated, the cumulative installed solar PV capacity has exceeded the hydropower to become the second largest power source in China, just following after the coal. And we believe that in the foreseeable future, we can see the solar PV become the largest, the first power source or the energy form to show the biggest support for the whole China's electricity market. And as for another Asian country, Japanese government is also making their efforts to push the transformation of its electricity market. So according to this graph, the investment in renewable projects in Japan has been stagnated from the 2022, even in 2023. And on the graph on the right, you can see that even the solar has been the most preference for the Japanese investor when they do the renewable projects. But the total volume is not that good enough to let the Japanese government to feel confident for the future of the renewable. So under this circumstance, the Japanese government just issues that they will do a subsidy to the underlying project from its budget in 2022 and the budget in 2023. And after the calculation by the transferring the yen to the dollar, we can see there are almost $300 million could be as the subsidies to support the project that encourage them to sign the PPA. And once the PPA signed volume increasing further, and we can see that the sensitivity, especially in the Japanese market, for the module price or some the wind machines price, the sensitivity will be down, and that will be good news for our module suppliers. And after this regional market, I will put the last part to the energy storage system. So for the last part, we will focus on the developing industry. Very important for us, the next new form of our energy product, especially we want to mention is the solar PV plus the storage. The importance of this kind of form will be the next mainstream product form in the foreseeable future. So according to the Chinese Energy Storage Alliance, we can see in 2022, the global newly added energy storage system capacity have exceeded 20 gigawatts to first time, which led the cumulative capacity to 45 gigawatts, and it almost doubled comparing the performance in the 2021. And the top three markets is Chinese, and is China, United States, and Europe respectively. And from the chart on the right, as you can see that the United States, after the United States, Australia, like Japan, like some Southeast Asia's country, and also some countries from Latin America also make their contribution to the energy storage development in the last year. And when we talk about the energy storage system, the first thing that might come into our mind is the residential energy storage, because it has been the leading residential. It has been the leading energy storage system in the global storage form. And so, according to the reports from the IHS, the global residential energy storage shipment in 2022 is about 23 gigawatt per hour, which is increasing 122% year on year. And most contribution is from the European region. The Germany, the Italy has been the top two markets that have shown good performance in these products. And the second contributor is the United States. So Germany, Italy, and America has all three of them accounts for about 50% in the global shipments. And so actually with the shipment keep increasing, we should feel more confident about the energy storage's future, especially from the combined solar PV module or the wind or some other renewable forms, that plus the storage to be a better product form to be offered to our terminal consumers. So that will lead the industry to have a better margin, especially when we considering the turbulence of the module's power output. So anyway, that comes to the end of my presentation today, and thanks for your time, and have a good day.